Welcome to Kastrup Airport this August evening, the 21st, 2018. Today's flight goes from Kastrup, Copenhagen to Billund Airport with this Boeing 787, also called Dreamliner. The aircraft is located at gate Charlie 29 and the flight time will be around 30 minutes. And here we can see the aircraft located at gate Charlie 29 in the airport, Terminal 1. And we can also see a Norwegian Boeing 738 and a few other aircraft. And here we have the flight plan for today's flight to Billund, and we will passing over the Odin VOR. We can also see an EasyJet coming into Kastrup and another EasyJet going out from Kastrup. And the waypoint Ritzi to Loksa and then into ILS 27 in Billund. And this flight plan is the normal flight plan from Kastrup to Billund. Also welcome to the cockpit of this Boeing 787-9, and we will now put on some light on the instruments and to the cabin, and we will set up the aircraft, all the systems of the aircraft, and also put in the flight plan to the FMC. At this time the passengers are already boarded and the luggage is loaded. And on this flight we turn on the anti-ice system and the seatbelt signs. And we said the QNH, which in Kastrup, Copenhagen, is (1021 hectopascal). The auto throttle on and the flight director on. And the heading from expected runway 22 right is set on the MCP, and the expected initial climb will be 7,000 feet or flight level 70. The auto brake RTO. And we set the range to 20. And we turn on the weather radar, the traffic, the airport. And the left and right VOR. The microphone is turned on. and some light to the center panel. And now we will set up the FMC. And the reference airport is Kastrup, Copenhagen, Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel. And the route is from Echo Kilo Charlie Hotel to Billund. Echo Kilo Bravo India, and expected runway is 22 right for departure. And the route goes from Kastrup, Copenhagen to Odin VOR, and then to Ritzi, waypoint Ritzi, and then to waypoint Loksa, just north of Vejle, and from VOR, Odin VOR to Ritzi, we follow airway Lima 975. Reserve fuel is 2,000 pounds of fuel. Cruising altitude is flight level 120 or 12,000 feet. Cost index is 200 and step size 0. Execute, and then we get the takeoff speeds: V1 130, VR 131, and V2 142 knots. And the trim set is 4.75, and we set the elevator trim to 4.75. That's it. We set the V2 speed to 142 knots on the MCP. And we will now put in the standard instrument departure from Copenhagen, the SID, and we expect a runway 22 right, and we have the SID Odin 1 Charlie departure. Execute. And the takeoff speeds are the same. And for arrival we expect ILS runway 27 in Billund via LOXA, execute. And we set up the approach and choose 30 degrees of flaps. And then we will control if there are any discontinuities in the flight plan. So step by step we follow the flight plan, and everything looks okay. So we activate the LNAV and the VNAV, and I think we now are pretty ready to proceed with the pre-flight checklist. Oxygen, captain side, tested 100%. Co-pilot side, tested 100%.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain. We'd like to add our welcome aboard today's flight. We're just finishing up our last minute paperwork, and once we've done that, we'll push back. We're estimating an on-time departure. In the cabin today are some of our finest flight attendants who are all for your safety, so we ask that you give them undivided attention whenever requested. Once again, thanks for flying with us. Sit back and relax, and I'll update you on our progress once we're able.
Alright, it'll be a left seat takeoff. Taxi route is per ATC instructions. Standard reject procedures. Will depart via the SID, climb to initial altitude. In the event of an emergency return, we'll coordinate with ATC. You'll fly the airplane out on the checklist and coordinate with the air traffic control company and the flight attendants. Any questions?
No questions. Before start checklist. Passenger signs on, MCP. Okay, checked. The takeoff speeds are checked. Pre-flight checked. And taxi and takeoff braking completed.
Takeoff for airborne, contact Copenhagen approach 119.8, have a flight check.
And we are now ready to get the IFR clearance from the ATC to Billund. Castle Tower, Lufthansa 1462 at stand Charlie 29, ready to copy IFR clearance to Billund.
Good evening, Lufthansa 1462, clearance to Billund, runway 22 right, Odin 1 Charlie Departure, squawk 7305.
Cleared to Billund via Odin 1 Charlie Departure, runway 22 right, squawk 7305, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, read back correct.
Ryanair 271 is ready for taxi.
Runner 271, taxiway Romeo, Yankee, Delta, and Alpha, Charlie Point runway 22 right, cross runway 12.
Taxi 13.22 right by Romeo Yankee Delta and Alpha and cross runway 12 is approved for Ryanair 271.
Yes, it's all good evening, Scandinavian 1678, visual approach to left.
Scandinavian 1678, good evening. Castro Tower, continue approach you on number 2.
Scandinavian 1678.
Request push and start Lufthansa 1.
Lufthansa 1462, please start approved, QNH 1021.
Push and start approved, QNH 1021, Lufthansa 1462. I have now requested a pushback truck.
CC located at Prepar3D 21 GS. EKCH-21 Juliet Lima, thank you. Break, Scandinavian 1678, wind 310 at 4 knots, runway 22 left, clear to land.
Lufthansa to left, Scandinavian 1678.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Head via Bravo and then Victor, Sierra and Whiskey, then Foxtrot 5.
Locking gear.
Taxi via Bravo, Victor, Sierra, Whiskey, Foxtrot 1.
Departure check completed. Live has been inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start that wheel.
And the pushback has started.
Ground the flight deck.
Go ahead for cockpit.
Cleared to start engines.
Roger. Clear to start engines. Start both engines.
We will now start the engines with a dual start.
Starting engines.
And we will add some fuel to the engines. And now they will spool up.
EKCH-1 Juliet Lima, cross runway 12. Crossing runway 12, 210. Ryanair 271, wind 290, 3 knots, runway 22 right, clear for takeoff when airborne, contact Copenhagen, approach frequency 119.8, have a nice flight, bye-bye.
Clear for takeoff runway 22 right, and when airborne, contact 119.8 for approach, Ryanair 271.
Scandinavian 1678, welcome to Copenhagen, taxi pad, Bravo.
Correct, is about 16, cross 12, Scandinavian 1678.
Good evening, Tower, Scandinavian 267, on final establish and localized today. Scandinavian 667.
Before taxi checklist, anti-ice on, record checked, auto brake RTO, Flight controls.
Disconnected. Bypass main removed.
Full right, center. Full left, center. Full up, center.
Canadian 147.
Full down,
Good
center.
evening. Cashup Tower, you
Rather
are
left,
destination
not rather
runway
right.
22 right, with R1 Charlie departure.
Flight controls checked.
Initially at squawk 7313.
Flight controls check completed. Ground equipment clear. Before taxi checklist completed. And we have a go from the ground personnel, so we will ask the ATC for taxi instructions. Request taxi Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, taxiway Romeo, Yankee, Bravo, and Alpha. Charlie point runway 22 right, runway 1.
Taxiway Romeo, Yankee, Bravo, Alpha, 2 holding point 22 right, Lufthansa 1462. And now we got the taxi clearance to runway 22 right, and we will just wait for the pushback truck to leave the taxiway. And now we are ready for the taxi.
Maybe 7 runway 22 left, please.
267, thank you. Break UPS 28, Foxtrot wind 290 at 3 knots, runway 22 left, cleared.
Runway 22 left, clear to land, you break 2, Foxtrot.
And we put on the taxi light.
Copenhagen taxiway Bravo, Yankee 2, stand Alpha.
And the runway turn off light and the strobe.
Repeat please again, sir.
Canadian 6678 Alpha 1.
Okay, taxi into gate Alpha 12 via Bravo Yankee and cross runway 12. I guess.
Canadian 14, confirm Canadian 1472. Canadian 1472, pushing start approved, K 1021.
Just not approved, Canadian 1472. Canadian 1472.
Canadian 667 gave way to Lufthansa, turning now to Yankee.
Yep, giving way for Lufthansa.
Lufthansa 1462, you should be turning now right of the
Request Zulu and Alpha to holding point 2 to right.
Roger, Lufthansa 1462, continue by Zulu, then turn left on Foxtrot Alpha, runway 22 right.
Continue on Zulu and then Foxtrot Alpha to the right, Lufthansa 1462.
Thanks. Scandinavian 667, you can now continue your taxi.
Continue taxi, Negative.
UPS 28 Foxtrot, welcome to Copenhagen. Taxi via Bravo, then right, runway 12, and hold short runway 22 left.
Bravo, right on 12, hold short 22 left, UPS 28 Foxtrot.
And we turn off the APU.
Scandinavian 1472 for taxi. Scandinavian 1472 taxi via Mike Yankee at Alpha. Holding point runway 22 right, cross runway 1. Taxi Mike Yankee Alpha, 22 right, actually to cross runway 1, Scandinavian 147. As a 1462 confirms squawk 7305.
Well, squawk 7305, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, thank you very much. Wind 2903 knots runway 20 right, clear for takeoff when airborne contact Copenhagen approach 119.8, Nightflight, bye-bye.
Clear for takeoff 22 right, and after departure Copenhagen approach on 119.8, Lufthansa 1462, bye bye.
UPS 28 Foxtrot, cross runway 22 west, continue taxi via Golf 2, Golf, and land of your choice.
Cross 22 left via Golf 2, Golf, and we'll take Golf 133, UPS 28 Foxtrot.
Whatever.
167 is parked at Alpha 12, and thanks for your service again, close flight 9.
We turn on the landing lights
667, thank you very much for flying us that part.
and turn off the center pumps. Then 40% thrust, and then toga.
Flight attendants, please be seated for departure.
Check thrust. 80 knots. Checked.
B1.
Rotate. B2. Positive rate. Gear up.
Gear up. Autopilot on.
Autopilot on. Autopilot in command.
LNAV, VNAV on.
For contact tower frequency 118.1. Contact 1, so long. Request for the V7. Oxbook 405, roger that. Terms are setting to 10 and descent 5 lap.
We invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Descent 5,000 feet, kilometers towards the current Oxbook 405.
Copenhagen approach, Lufthansa 1462, flight level 70, inbound Odin.
Lufthansa 1462, Copenhagen approach, good evening, you are identified, climb flight level 120.
Climb to flight level 120, Lufthansa 1462.
Copenhagen North Transport 171 on flight level 100 inbound 0 Victor Delta.
Oscar 4171 going approach, good evening, you are 25.
After takeoff checklist, landing gear up, flaps up. After checklist, after departure checklist completed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the use of approved portable electronic devices is now permitted.
We have passed 10,000 feet, so we turn off the landing lights.
Copenhagen Bridge, good evening, half 472 reaching 1,500 feet, radar 1 Charlie departure.
We are through the clouds, so we turn off the anti-ice.
Delta being 310, descent 3000, Augsburg Air 405. And last station was the Scandinavian 1472. Hey, Scandinavian 1472, good evening, approach, identified, climb flight level 190. Climb flight level 190, Scandinavian 147. Copenhagen approach, good evening again, National 354. Request taxi to stand on Constitution 354.
We have reached our cruising level, flight level 120, and we turn off the seat belt signs.
No, 354 for now, taxi with all of runway 12. Technical stand 12, National 354.
We have now a cruising speed of 370 knots and a headwind of 25 knots. True airspeed is 396 knots.
Geometry 674, Port Source going in, approach, good evening, you are identified, extra time is 102 to left, leaving extra heading 025.
Leaving XO heading 025, expecting rectified as due to the truck passing 10
Also 354, stand Alpha 12, via Bravo and Yankee, cross runway 12. Taxi to Dreamliner 1-2, level Yankee 2, message to Nightflight. Thank you. Oxford 405 to left heading 250, clear that is runway 2 to left. Left heading 250, clear that is 2 to left. Oxford 405. No. Oxford 4171 descent 5000 feet, turning to 1021.
We will now prepare the approach in Billund by setting the local pressure to the altimeter, and the local pressure in Billund is 1020 hectopascal.
Note of 4171 descending 5000 feet back to your name 1021.
Lufthansa 1462, contact Copenhagen, control 12137, bye.
Copenhagen control on 121.375, Lufthansa 1462, bye bye.
No shuttle for 17110, left heading 130.
Left heading 130, no shuttle forward.
Copenhagen control, Lufthansa 1462, flight level 120 inbound Odin.
Scandinavian 1472, contact Sweden, frequency 118.4, bye-bye. Sweden, normal X-Force, now, what's up?
Copenhagen control, Lufthansa 1462, flight level 120 inbound Odin.
Lufthansa 1462, come on, go. Identified.
And here we can see our flight plan in progress, and we are now at waypoint Dobel, and we turn slightly to the left to waypoint Odin. We are shortly leaving the west coast of Sjælland at Storebælt. Shortly reaching the top of descent, and will now slow down the speed of the aircraft to 280 knots. And in front of us we now have the east coast of Fyn and Fyns Odde. Preparation for the approach, I will now set the auto brake to level 2 and activate the speed brake. And the descent checklist. Recall checked. Notes checked. Auto brake level 2. Landing data VREF 132 knots, 30 degrees flaps, minimum 200 feet. Approach briefing completed. Descent checklist completed. Now close to the top of descent, and I reduce the speed further to 270 knots. To the left we are now passing Odense.
Lufthansa 1462 with a ready descent flight level 50. Expect ILS on runway 27.
Been ready to descend to flight level 50 and expect ILS 27 Lufthansa 1462.
Descent checklist.
Stand by.
Ladies and gentlemen, please check that your seatbelt is securely fastened. To prepare for landing, it will be necessary to collect all service items, as well as any other items you wish to discard, such as newspapers.
We have now started our descent to 5,000 feet. We are now passing 10,000 feet, so we turn on the landing lights.
Copenhagen control City 3406. Is it possible to step away for about 10 minutes? Okay. Christian 3406, yeah, you're actually until this station will be closed, so you can switch back to your frequency 1 but I can enjoy your flight. Why do I switch the Unicom number to 2.8 in the 3406 screen? Lufthansa 1462, posing direct Luxor.
Direct Luxor, Lufthansa 1462. Now we got a direct to waypoint Luxor, which will shorten our flight with a few minutes.
Approach checklist.
Stand by. And we will now reduce our speed to 240 knots. The upper limit for speed is maximum 250 knots below 10,000 feet. we have passed the transition level and changed the barometer settings to the local pressure in Billund, which is 1020 hectopascal. I will now increase the VNAV descent speed to manual descent speed of 1900 feet per minute. Descent to 3000 feet on coordinates 1020 Lufthansa 1462. And we are now cleared down to 3000 feet, which is initial altitude at Luxor and to begin the ILS descent. We are now descending along the north coast of Vejle Fjord, and we have the city of Vejle in front of us. I have now reduced the speed to 220 knots. And the passenger seatbelt signs are now turned on. Approach checklist, altimeters set, landing checklist.
Lufthansa 1462, ILS runway 27.
Stand by for flaps. Clear ILS 27 Lufthansa 1462.
Unfortunately, coming control is closing shortly, so you will switch to Unicom 124.7.
Localizer armed. Speed reduced to 200 knots and auto brake set to level 2. Approach armed, and we have now catched the localizer. To the left, the main road between Vejle and Billund. Flaps 20 set.
Ladies and gentlemen, in preparation for landing, please return all seat backs and tray tables to their upright and stowed position. Ensure all portable electronic devices are turned off and stow all carry-on items. Additionally, footrests and video monitors must be returned to their original position. Thank you.
Flight attendants, please be seated for arrival.
And we have now the runway in sight, just in front of us.
Roger, Unicom 228, thanks. North Shuttle 4171.
We'll now reduce the speed to 164 knots.
This is 1462, the wind is 220 degrees 3 knots, runway 27, please land. After landing, Unicom 122 this way, Boston.
2500.
Clear to land 27, and after landing, Unicom Lufthansa 1462, thank you, Boston. Flaps 25. Speed down to 142 knots. Flaps 30.
Land 3.
Landing checklist.
Speed brake armed. Landing gear down. Flaps 30. Landing checklist completed. Continue.
400. 300. Approaching minimums.
Continue.
Minimums.
Landing.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
$70 knots, manual brakes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be taxiing for the next few minutes, so please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign. At that time, please remember to check around your seating area, in the seat pockets, and overhead bins for all personal belongings that you brought on board. Please take care when opening the overhead bins, as the contents may have shifted during flight.
ATC is no more available, so we can choose a gate of own choice. And we choose gate 35 next to jet time Boeing 737. And we turn off the taxi light so we don't blind the ground service people. Brake set, and we are on the blocks in Billund. And we start the APU to make power when the engines are shut down. In fact, I should have started the APU during the taxi phase. So now we have to wait a minute or two until the APU is up and running before we can stop the engines. Here we can see the Dreamliner compared to the Boeing 737. The Dreamliner is quite a bigger aircraft than the Boeing 737. Now the APU is available, so we can shut down the engines. Release the cabin. Now the CDUs are shut down and we can leave the cockpit. And this was the end of this relative short evening flight from Copenhagen to Billund with this beautiful and fantastic aircraft, Boeing 787 Dreamliner. I hope you have enjoyed the flight, and I hope you'll see you on board another time on this Dreamliner operated by Lufthansa. Thanks for watching and hope to see you another time. Bye bye.